This video is brought to you by my wonderful patrons and YouTube members who are helping support my channel, and from Ben Q. That's right boys, we're selling out. Are you like me and you're always on your computer at night? Do you like to sit in the dark while staring into your bright monitor? Yeah? Well, do you like straining your eyes and slowly killing your vision to the point that you now need glasses and everything starts becoming blurred and you're slowly becoming more and more depressed? Me neither. Well, thanks to our friends at Ben Q, you can get an awesome desk lamp made specifically for working on your computer. Its design is sleek and it fits right above your monitor so it doesn't take up any space. Now, I'm all about things looking cool, but what's important to me is functionality, and this lamp is awesome. It provides a lot of light and it's designed to only hit your work area, not your monitor, so there's absolutely no glare. You can adjust the brightness and the hue of the lighting to get it just the way you like it. With over 200 user reviews averaging 4.5 stars, I think you can't go wrong with this product if you're looking to brighten up your workspace while keeping your desk free of clutter. Save your eyes and check out the Ben Q screen bar lamp. The product link is in the description below. Okay, back to the video. What would you do if one day the zombie apocalypse actually happened? Would you be prepared? Would you succumb to the undead? Hey guys, this is Eric with Pixel Rookie, and I'm going to share a story with you through the game Project Zomboid. This is a story that follows two unfortunate strangers who took the same train the same evening to Knox County, ground zero for the zombie outbreak the day before it began. The first character was Rook Grimes, a police officer, fresh out of the academy. Anxiously accepting a job in Knox County, a veteran officer would pick him up at the train station and drop him off at his temporary residence where he would start his job the following day. The second character, Karlomka, a college graduate that's visiting a friend for a few days. Karlomka was picked up by his friend and they were going to go camping starting the next day after she finished up her closing shift at the bar that night. Neither of these men knew the area, nor did they know what was in store for them. Rook Grimes woke up early in the morning and got dressed. His new partner would arrive to pick him up in a little bit. As he was anxiously waiting, he thought he heard screaming off in the distance. He didn't have a badge or weapon yet, but the screams were violent and he knew someone was in danger. Rook Grimes searched the cupboard and found a fork and saucepan while rummaging through the supplies. You know what, he thought to himself, this is better than nothing. He approached the door and stepped outside. He wasn't familiar with this neighborhood, but he could hear the screams from afar. He hunkered down and prepared himself. He wished his partner was here, but for now, it was just him. He looked around and took in his surroundings. There was a small gravel driveway that led to a small road. That's where the cries of help were coming from. He hurried his way in that direction, but something didn't feel right. He couldn't put his finger on this feeling he had, but he ran down the road to investigate. Karlomka awoke to a loud bang. It sounded like a gun was fired right outside. He was expecting to be woken up by his friend when she got back from the late shift at the bar, but it was just him, all alone. He went outside to see what was going on. Her car was in the driveway, but the windshield was destroyed and she was nowhere to be found. He also saw a neighbor standing in the middle of the road and it looked like she was covered in blood. Confused and panicked, he snuck over to the neighbor's yard. He didn't want to draw attention to the person on the road, so he opened his neighbor's window to sneak in the house and see what was going on. Karlomka crept inside as quietly as he could and made sure to close the window when he entered. And the curtains too, just in case. It was uncomfortably quiet in the house except for the humming of a TV show that was playing on a low volume. Nobody seemed to be home, so he went to the TV to see if he could find anything on the local news station. The channel was offline and defaulted back to the other channel. How odd, he thought to himself. He thought he heard something in the other room. He opened the door and he found the source of the loud noise that woke him up earlier. There lay a man who shot himself in the face with his own shotgun. Karlomka was shocked and confused. The man had bite marks on his arms. What was going on? Something was definitely wrong. He grabbed the shotgun from the dead body and took the ammo lying on the ground. He inspected the shotgun and reminded himself of the shooting lessons he took a few years ago. As he left the bathroom and turned the corner into the kitchen, there was another one of those things staring at him through the window. As soon as it noticed him, it began groaning and slowly banging on the window. The other station was out now too. He wouldn't be able to run while holding on the shotgun and put it away for now. He was quite certain that he'd need to run soon. The screaming stopped, but Rook Grimes saw where they came from. There was a man standing in the dirt driveway covered in blood. He slowly began approaching the man and calmly asked him if everything was okay. He only replied with faint groans as he slowly shambled towards Rook Grimes. He called out for him to not come any closer, but his screams went ignored. In a panic, he stabbed the man, but it didn't faze him. He kept trying to bite his neck. He saw another person limping towards him, groaning and foaming from the mouth. He used the fork and stabbed in the person's head and it toppled over. He yelled at the woman to stay back, but she continued slowly moving towards him. He ran away and she followed slowly. Something wasn't right. These people, they looked like they were already dead, but they were mindlessly walking towards him regardless. He remembered that he grabbed the saucepan from the cupboard and gripped it tightly in his right hand. He slowly approached the decrepit-looking woman again while examining her. She looked like a corpse that was partially rotten, covered in bites and bloodstains. Rook Grimes hit her right in the forehead with the pan and she toppled over. In a panic, he swung at her but missed. Adrenaline was flowing through his entire body. He finally hit her and shoved her to the ground. He screamed as he landed one final blow to her head. He heard a screeching moan and he felt her skull cave in from the hit. He thought he was going to throw up. Rook Grimes checked the bodies for IDs. He'd have to report this. Neither of the corpses had any identification on them, so he went towards the house. He was nervous. He'd never experienced anything like this. He crept over to the window next to the door and looked in. There was only a laundry room, nothing out of the ordinary. He opened the door and explored the home. He felt very uneasy, but he didn't find anything. He slowly went upstairs and looked around the rooms. His guard was up in case there were more of those things. Rook Grimes found no other people there. Did the screams come from one of those monsters? Karlomka didn't have much time. That thing, that zombie, was going to break through the kitchen window, so he took a deep breath and went out the front door. Another one was waiting for him and started to follow once it noticed him. He ran between the two houses and saw two more ahead of him. He was about to run away, but he noticed one was wearing a backpack. That would be really useful for him. He examined it from a distance until he heard the groaning sounds of a bloodied corpse walking straight towards him. He could hardly believe his eyes. But as it got too close, he shoved it back until it fell to the ground. Karlomka moved to its head and stomped as hard as he could until it caved under his foot and it finally stopped moving. He was always a fan of zombie movies. He couldn't believe that's what was happening, but he knew that right now, he had to protect himself and try to escape. He stripped the jacket off of the corpse and put it on. He already had blood splattered on his boots, so he didn't care if it had blood on it. He pulled a large hand fork from its body and equipped it as a weapon. If he could just get the attention of the zombie with the backpack, he could take it down and claim the backpack for himself. It looked like he got the attention of a different zombie. Karlomka was patient and let it come to him. As soon as it was close enough, he stabbed it in the face, and when he saw an opening, he jammed the fork through the chin into its skull. He slowly approached the backpack zombie again. One behind his target noticed him and started moving his way. Karlomka began to slowly back up, luring it closer to the house, but as it passed the backpack zombie, it began to approach him too. The first one was close enough for Karlomka to strike. He saw the opening and jammed the large fork into its head. As the first zombie fell to the ground, his main target shambled up to him. Karlomka tried keeping his cool and shoved the fork into its head as well. Nervous and anxious, he seemed okay for now as he removed the backpack from the limp corpse and tossed it over onto his back. He slowly moved to other neighboring houses and found that there were more of these things. He took another one out with relative ease and he pulled his hand fork out of his head. Karlomka crept up to a window and was caught off guard by another zombie staring at him and banging its face against the glass. He quickly backtracked around the corner of the house to inspect it further. He slowly peered through the window into the bedroom and moved his way past the bathroom. They were both empty. As he rounded the corner, he saw that the door was broken down already. He peered into the kitchen that opened up into the living room and then backed outside. He didn't feel safe there, so he left that area to check out another house. As he got close to the neighboring home, he saw a group of them standing there. It looked like he caught the attention of one of them, so he fell back to make sure he didn't attract more. He let it get close to him and he gave it the same treatment as the others. As it collapsed to the ground, he quickly pulled the hand fork out of its head in case other zombies were nearby. He also noticed it had a map with some scribbling on it, and it had marks of areas with information. How long has this been going on? It was past dark when they arrived yesterday and he went to bed shortly after. He wasn't paying attention on the way back to his friend's place, so he wasn't entirely certain if anything seemed out of the ordinary. Based on this information, this was a bigger problem than he was hoping for. Rook Grimes found nothing in the house, and as he walked outside, another one of those things were approaching him. It wouldn't back down when he shouted at it, so he braced himself for another fight. He landed a hit, but suddenly noticed that more were closing in on him. Rook Grimes turned to run away, and more came out from around the corner. He had to get out of there. He ran down the dirt driveway back onto the main street to try and find someone to help. He rounded the curve on the road and suddenly stopped. It was another police officer, but she was acting like the others and actually tried biting him. He knocked her to the ground and was going to search her body for a weapon, but the other ones caught up to him. He took off further down the road, and as he continued running, he saw many more people covered in blood just standing by the street, turning to approach him if he accidentally got their attention. Still in a panic, he detoured off the main road again into a driveway. He found a house, ran inside, and closed the door. Blood was everywhere. Whatever happened here, it was violent. He went upstairs to further investigate what might have happened, but he heard banging and groaning at the front door. He nervously went downstairs to investigate, and he saw that they followed him to the house and were trying to get in. He quickly went over to the side window and opened it. These things seemed slow, and he hoped he could sneak by them. Rook Grimes hurried around the corner and tried to escape. It didn't seem to matter where he ran. Every turn led him to another group of these things that would see him and begin their pursuit. He eventually ran to the edge of a forest with a group of them not too far behind. He thought he'd take his chances through the woods. Karlomka put the map away and tried to get out of the open. He decided to investigate the other nearby house. He slid open the window and crawled through. The first thing he noticed was another zombie standing in the middle of the living room. He didn't notice any other ones in there. The only noise was a different news station playing in the background. It didn't sound good. He got close enough to get the zombie's attention and backed away, leaving through the window. He had an idea. He was slowly leading the zombie towards him to crawl through the window. He was nervously waiting as it slithered through and fell to the ground. Karlomka was a little too nervous as he missed his opportunity to stomp its head while it was laying there. It got back up and he began wrestling with it, stabbing it multiple times with his hand fork. All those noises he made caused other groups of zombies to approach him. There were way too many of them. He had to get out of there. Everywhere he turned, he saw more groups of zombies together. He had to find a place where he could lay low. He approached another house that seemed to be ignored by the groups of zombies outside. As quietly as he could, he opened the window after a few attempts. He crawled through into the kitchen and looked around. The ground level appeared empty, so he slowly and cautiously made his way upstairs to the second floor. He took his time searching through the different rooms. He finally entered what looked like the master bedroom. The coast was clear, at least for now. He searched a drawer beside the bed and when looking inside, he found a scarf. Karlomka figured anything to help protect any exposed areas would be helpful, so he wrapped it around his neck. There were too many zombies surrounding this place. He wanted to find a more remote area where he could hide out for a few days at least. He exited through the front door and walked outside. A zombie jumped him from around the corner. He violently stabbed at its head to take it out, but he couldn't land a solid hit. His weapon finally broke from the heavy use, and in desperation, he began shoving the zombie away with his bare hands. The zombie finally fell to the ground and he began stomping on it until it stopped moving. This drew the attention of more zombies to Karlomka's location. He dug through his bag and he found a pipe wrench he picked up from earlier. He equipped it and continued moving. No matter where he went, there were groups of zombies there, waiting for a victim to feed on. He continued to try and evade any groups he would spot before he got their attention and kept weaving through the houses in this neighborhood. Karlomka spotted more groups from across the street. It didn't seem to matter where he looked, they were nearby. He was able to sneak by the groups unnoticed and he found himself back where he started. Rook Grimes traveled through a dense forest long enough that he lost track of time. He was tired, but determined, and he eventually found a clearing that opened up into a large field. He crossed through what looked like a plot of farmland until he found a large barn near the field. He paused as he saw another one of those things standing by the entrance. Rook Grimes now knew that they couldn't be reasoned with as he caught its attention and approached him. He knocked her over and panicked while swinging his weapon and missed. As she got back up, he was able to knock her back to the ground. He continued beating on her until she stopped moving. He quickly examined the stable and found nothing. He pressed onwards towards a farmhouse that was by the barn. He was alert and cautious as he slowly approached the lone building. Rook Grimes felt the window give as he forced it open and climbed through. He closed it behind him so nothing could easily follow him in. It was time to check and see if he was truly alone in this farmhouse. Karlomka felt like he was going in circles around this little section of town, and no matter where he turned, he found more zombies close by. As he was circling back to his friend's house, he heard glass crackling as a zombie slid out of an open window towards him. It groaned as it recovered from its fall, and that's when Karlomka crushed its head with his pipe wrench. The commotion brought more zombies out from the window, falling right at his feet. As they fell to the ground, Karlomka stomped their heads in one at a time. He saw two more coming his way. He waited patiently, and as they fell from the window, he dispatched them while they laid on the ground. Of course, that made even more noise, which attracted the attention of other nearby zombies around the corner of the house. He was patient and waited for one to get close to him. All it took was one swing from the heavy pipe wrench to knock it to the ground. As he stomped its head in, he saw another zombie fell from the same window as the others. The pipe wrench was a good weapon. It had a lot of weight to it and took zombies down with one good swing. The coast finally seemed clear, so he checked the bodies and found a clean handkerchief to wear over his forehead to prevent the sweat from running down into his eyes. His jacket was completely covered in a bloody mess of the zombies he killed. He saw a cleaner one and traded it out. Karlomka could hear more zombies nearby, and before he could go in and check the house for supplies, he saw a zombie pour out of the window in the neighboring house. He made too much noise here already, and he knew he had to get out of there before more of them found him. He went back to his friend's house with the intention of laying low and resting for the evening. He made sure both entrances were shut off and then began closing the curtains to prevent anything from seeing him if a group was to wander by. He went to close the shades on one of the windows and he was spotted by a zombie right outside. He wasn't safe if he stayed there. He found some food in the kitchen and ate it up as quickly as he could. Then he snuck over to the neighbor's house. let's try this again, he thought to himself as he shut the curtains by the door. He had to hang a sheet over the other window, and while he was putting it in place, he saw zombies wandering nearby. He tried to move quickly while not drawing any attention to himself. The sheet fell over the window and he was certain he pulled it off without them noticing. He closed the final curtain and went over to the couch to try and unwind by reading a magazine for a few minutes before trying to sleep. It was a very long day after all. Rook Grimes searched through the entire house and it was completely clear of any of those monsters. He stepped outside to get some fresh air and clear his head. He began foraging through the nearby woods to gather some supplies. He had no real tools to help him out, so he made some makeshift ones for now. First, he made a hammer with a large rock and a solid tree limb. It took him a while to put everything together, and he was quite exhausted afterwards. It was getting late, so he went inside and got a drink of water and then ate some food that he found in the fridge. It felt strange hiding out in a stranger's house, knowing that there are things out there that could potentially try and break in at any point. Regardless, Rook Grimes was physically and emotionally exhausted, so he found the master bedroom and laid down to rest. The sun hadn't risen yet, but he found himself unable to fall back to sleep. Rook Grimes felt uneasy going back downstairs, but as he checked the perimeter, everything was quiet and the coast was still clear. Since he couldn't sleep, Rook Grimes decided to forage for some more supplies. He spent a lot of time out there until he was able to put together a makeshift stone axe. With this newly crafted axe, he found a lone tree by the woods and began working to cut it down. He had a lot of pent-up stress from everything that was going on. While he was hacking away at the tree, he tried to clear his head and figure out a game plan on what to do next. The tree fell and he left the debris on the ground for now. He didn't realize how exhausted he was and the sun was still nowhere to be seen. He ate a can of tuna that he found in the cupboard and he made his way back upstairs to the bedroom. He was going to try and get a little more sleep before the sun rose. Karlomka felt like he barely slept, but it was finally morning. He felt fortunate that he was left undisturbed. He was going to try to spend the day navigating through the waves of zombies all over and gather supplies and circle back to his temporary shelter later on. As he wandered through the neighborhood, he found a zombie laying on the ground wearing a nice baseball cap. Karlomka never really saw himself as a bandana guy anyways, and he quickly grabbed it from the corpse. He walked over to an open area that was clear enough for him to put it on, and he continued on his way. He had a big day of scavenging ahead of him. Rook Grimes opened his eyes and he saw the morning sun shining through the windows. He let out a sigh of relief and went back outside. He started cutting down more trees. He felt numb, knowing that there could be other people out there needing help while he was sheltering himself away from it all. He couldn't help but to feel guilty. He toiled outside the entire day, undisturbed by the horrors that were nearby. He was exhausted from the work and went back upstairs to rest. Tomorrow he would take action. Karlomka spent most of the day evading zombies, hardly finding supplies that would help him. It was getting late and he was beginning to get very exhausted. He saw one more house he wanted to hit before sneaking back to his hideout and resting for the night. The door was locked, so he tried the window. It slid open with ease. He crawled through, and as soon as his feet hit the floor, the worst possible thing happened. The security alarm went off. Karlomka's mind went into a panic. He had to get out of there now. He dashed back through the window and began running away, but he saw them from every angle. The horde was coming. He tried to run, but he was so tired from dodging zombies all day, he could hardly even jog. This wasn't good. He had to escape. Rook Grimes woke up before the sunrise again. He felt restless. He was done hiding away. There had to be other survivors, and his job was to protect and serve. He went out through the front door, and his guard was back up. He was going to try and backtrack to where he was a couple of days ago. He went past the fields and back into the woods. It was dark and hard to navigate, but he was cautious and he didn't hear anything around him while he traveled. Rook Grimes finally made it to a clearing where a dirt path met a rundown road. The rundown road led to a slightly larger road. He felt like he was moving in the right direction. He stopped at a railroad crossing. There it was, another one of those things just standing there. He slowly approached it and made sure that nothing else was around him before engaging with it. He kept trying to stab its head, but it kept moving and trying to bite him. Rook Grimes kept stabbing it, but it wouldn't let up. Finally, after engaging with it for too long, he landed a blow that took it out for good. He stepped away from it and caught his breath, hoping that he was close to the neighborhood he found himself in just a few days prior. Karlomka felt like he was running forever. None of that mattered though. Everywhere he turned, they were still coming. The alarm must have alerted hundreds of zombies within a couple of miles. It was late into the night now. He'd been desperately trying to run from zombies the entire time and was completely exhausted. He felt like he could collapse at any moment. He had to find a place to rest. He finally felt like he was mostly in the clear and found a house nearby. There was just one zombie by the window. He approached it and thought maybe he could take it out fast enough without being noticed by others. He was too tired and his swings were too weak. More zombies came up to him before he could take it out. He turned and forced himself to keep moving. He found a clearing and tried a window. It opened. He crawled through as quickly as he could and scrambled to shut it behind him. He was already noticed by one. It didn't matter though. He hurried upstairs and locked himself in an empty bedroom. He heard them inside the house already. He grabbed a desk chair and moved it in front of the door to barricade it shut. As he set the chair in place, he heard a crashing noise right outside of the bedroom. A zombie already broke down one of the other doors upstairs and began banging on his door too. Rook Grimes continued traveling down the rural country road. He clearly made a wrong turn somewhere. It was hard to navigate a new area, especially in the dark. It seemed like everywhere he turned, it was more roads and forest, but no town. He kept running and began feeling a little hopeless with this road. He found a dirt path nearby and decided to take his chances going through the woods again. He ran until he found a clearing with more railroad tracks, and he figured he would try his luck following the tracks instead of the road. He was already tired and thirsty, but not a single house was in sight. Karlomka had no way out except for a window. He realized he could either leave through that window or the doorway where he knew the zombies were waiting. The decision was easy to make. He climbed through the window and fell through the roof into the living room. Fortunately, he wasn't hurt from the fall and snuck out the front door. He was so tired. His vision was beginning to blur. He needed to find a safe place where he could rest up. He was slowly limping past the house, and when he turned the corner, a group of zombies were standing there and immediately turned towards him. His brain screamed at his legs to move faster, but they wouldn't budge. It felt like a nightmare come to real life as he was barely able to move faster than a hasty walk while a zombie was right behind him. He quickly turned and desperately slammed his pipe wrench into the zombie's face, knocking it down and buying him some time. There were more behind him though, and he had to keep moving. Rook Grimes found more of these things by the tracks. He let it get close to him and began attacking it with his knife. There was an opening and he slammed his knife through its head, killing it instantly. More were nearby. He could see one far behind him and one up ahead. He approached the closest one and tried to take it out quickly and quietly. He stabbed it in the gut and he lost his grip and it was stuck inside the monster. He shoved it away and knocked it to the ground. He tried to stomp its head in, but he saw another one in his peripherals and it got too close for comfort. Rook Grimes fled, and when he had enough space between them, he got out his makeshift axe for his defense. Instead of trying to face them, he decided to run away. Karlomka was about to black out. He knew it was now or never, so he turned and saw it was only two of them. He struck one and shoved the other away. He tried to separate them so he could deal with one on the ground, but they were too close together. It got back up, and while he tried shoving them away, one broke through and sunk its teeth into him. He screamed out in pain and shoved it back. He desperately tried to force them away, but they were overwhelming him. He was tired. He felt another bite and tried to shove it away. Another bite. He was in so much pain. He was losing blood. He felt odd. Karlomka knew this was the end. He continued to fight until everything faded to black. He collapsed and died right there. A feast for the zombies, like many others. Rook Grimes followed the tracks all night. He was tired and thirsty. He decided to sit and rest for a while to regain some energy. Enough time passed that he felt better, but he was still feeling dehydrated. He really needed to find a house with some supplies. He finally found another road and stopped to think. Left or right? He began going left up the road but changed his mind. His gut said go right, so he changed his direction. It led him nowhere, fast. He was exhausted, hungry, thirsty, and very tired. He tried wandering off the road again through a clearing to see what he could find. Rook Grimes found nothing. He was becoming desperate and wandered all through the night. He couldn't find any food or water, and he didn't prepare to be away from any houses to scavenge for this long. He couldn't believe that he got lost when leaving the farm. He needed water soon. He also needed to get some sleep, but he couldn't do that in the open like this. He was so run down and tired, and that's when he realized he was in trouble. There was a large group of these things, maybe 15 to 20. He had to go around them. There was nothing the other way, and he was in dire need of any kind of shelter. It began raining. This would help him sneak by. He thought he was in the clear, but before he turned away, one noticed him. That drew the attention of the others, and before he knew it, they were chasing after him. He wasn't in any condition to fight them off. He was so weak from not eating or drinking water for almost 2 days straight. Regardless, he got out his axe, and as one got close to him, he began defending himself with everything he had. He couldn't shake them. He turned and he saw that two of them were too close. He'd have to fight them. He was backing up and hitting them with what little strength he had left. They tried to bite him, but he was able to shove them away. The storm was getting heavier and it was getting darker all around him. Rook Grimes was scared. He kept hitting them, hoping one would drop. He tried to turn and run, but it was too close. He missed his swing and it lunged in and bit him. He winced at the pain and shoved it away. The rain was falling even harder now. Even through the pounding rain, he could hear them behind him. He lost too much blood. He wasn't going to make it. The heavy rain poured down on him as he felt himself fading away. Just like Karlomka, the stranger who he had never met on the train, Rook Grimes suffered the same fate as he fell to the ground and died on the road. These two men were prepared for the zombie apocalypse. Would you survive longer than them? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more narrative content like this, feel free to subscribe to the channel and check out my other stuff. If you would like to support the channel, please consider becoming a patron or a YouTube member. You get awesome perks like a badge next to your username when you comment on my videos that slowly evolves over time, and access to the exclusive Pixel Rookie Minecraft server where I host special streamed events. I also want to shout out my newest YouTube members, Cell of Splinter and the Smacker Smack. Thank you so much for your support, guys. I really appreciate it. And a big thanks to all my patrons who are helping support the channel so that I can one day make this a full-time thing and create more narrative content like this much more regularly. I couldn't do it without you guys, and I appreciate your support. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, have a good one.